What's up guys, Coach Adam here from Mi40 Gym in Tampa, Florida. I want to give you 3 tips on how to improve your bench press. Tip number 1, and this is actually a good tip for anybody. I actually have to work this tip with advanced lifters quite often. But one of the first things and one of the best tips that I can give you is you should actually probably test your active range of motion before you bench press. Should everybody touch their chest when they bench press? No, they should not. Are you a competitive power lifter? You're going to have to, but you can do a bulk of your training not doing that. But let me explain. When I test my active range of motion, it's how far I can actually pull my back tight and get the bar to my chest. And I'm actively pulling the bar down and contracting my back and keeping that tight. That's about this height. As you can see, the bar really wouldn't be on my chest. Let me demonstrate. If I'm in this position and I'm actively rowing and keeping my back very tight, I pull down and it's about right there that I'm tight. That means that last couple inches is passive. I'm not in control there. People lose tightness in the bench press. So as I come down, I can stay tight to about right here in my back. That's where I have control. So this is my active range of motion in the bench press. This is as low as I can go in the bench press. Now, by training in the active range, I can actually improve it and eventually get it, and just by sometimes warming up, I can get it to my chest under control. But some people may be here. Can I row the bar to my chest? No. Right here? Well, that's where you need to bench press from. So come down, control, and press. And just training in your active range of motion will improve your active range of motion, and you won't be the one complaining about cranky elbows, wrists, and shoulders. Tip number 2, you have to have a solid platform to fire your chest muscles, your pectoralis major. So that's done by contracting my back very tight. So that has to do with rowing the bar to ourselves too. So I'm keeping this very tight the entire time I bench press, keeping that tight. Back tightness, and I get better firing out of my pectoralis major here. So back tight in any bench press. Tip number 3, and it has to do with what you're thinking about actually in the bench press. A lot of people, when they first start bench pressing and they try to bench press heavy weights, they tell you that they're failing at some point in the range of motion in the bench press. And it's actually their train of thought. Don't think about the bar. Think about the muscles moving the bar. So as I press the bar up, if I'm worried about just trying to move the bar and push it to the ceiling, I end up having all kinds of things losing integrity as far as my shoulder and my back. So I end up doing this protraction, and this is not a good place to be. And I just try to end up getting the bar up. What I should be thinking about as I'm coming up is bringing my elbows together. When somebody has problems locking out the bench press, it can be really what they're thinking as I'm coming up in the bench press. Elbows together. Boom. That's what the tricep does. My triceps are weak. You may not even be trying to use them. You're trying to push the bar to the ceiling instead of flexing the triceps and extending the arm. So extend in this as I'm coming up, bring the elbows together. That's tip number 3. So tip number 1, train and test within your active range of motion. Tip number 2, keep your back very, very tight. And tip number 3, just by the way that you're thinking about the movement and thinking about the muscles, you won't run into this stop of like, I have a very weak point in my bench press. It might just be what you're thinking. Bring the elbows together. Right there, I'll just demonstrate that one more time. Together. In that fashion. I can't lock out the bench press because you're not even locking out your elbows. So I hope those 3 tips help you guys.